Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. This is our second episode on taboo subjects with Real Talk. And today we're going to talk about miscarriage, stillbirth and neonatal death. I had a look because I was brought up in the Christian faith. So I had to have a look and see what the Islamic teaching is on when is a fetus decided it's a baby. And I found out that a pregnancy which is lost after fetal movements are felt is therefore recognised as the loss of a child, whereas an early miscarriage remains a lost pregnancy, a loss of blood or tissue. This understanding of fetal development broadly parallels the Islamic belief that life begins when the ruh, the spirit, has been breathed into the baby. Basically, around 4 months is when Islamically the fetus becomes a child. However, to a woman when she's expecting a baby, that baby is a baby right from the beginning. Women, from the moment they know they're pregnant, generally feel a bond developing with that child. And so even in an early miscarriage of 10 weeks, 12 weeks, even 7 weeks, she is going to feel a loss from her body. Obviously, as the pregnancy progresses, the bond with the baby becomes stronger. You follow the development of the baby. And later on in the pregnancy, you actually have to deliver and give birth to a baby. If you lose that baby, at, 16 weeks, 18 weeks, you have to actually go into labour and deliver the baby. So it's a much greater thing. But these losses, why I wanted to talk about this, is these losses are very hidden losses. It's not like when somebody dies, because other people know this child or this person. They know their personality, they know what they look like, they know how they are, how they be in their life. When a woman loses a baby, either during the gestational period or shortly afterwards, very few people, if anybody, has seen this child. Only the mother knows that it's there, mother and the father. And it's a loss that is all-encompassing at that time, and it's one that you can't share with anyone. It really is a hidden loss. People know maybe that you've had a miscarriage, or maybe you're ashamed that you've had a miscarriage, but the fact of the matter is, to you, it's a big loss. And especially if the baby has lived for a few days, you know, you have to grieve and you have to mourn all the living that child should have done and hasn't. And you have to grieve and mourn all the times you should have had with that child, and all the events, the life events that you should have had, which you're not going to be able to have. And people sometimes think that because it's a baby, it's something you're going to get over quickly. There's not a lot to mourn. You hadn't had the baby very long. You didn't know the child. You hadn't had chance to grow a bond. And all these things are like a denial of a woman's loss. And I say a woman because the woman is the closest to that child. She's carried it in her body for however many weeks or months. And it's not denying at all the father's loss as well, because obviously this is his child. But I think for the mother, she feels things more keenly because of the closeness to her own body, her own flesh. How can we help people that have lost babies? How can we help people that have suffered the trauma of giving birth and losing that child shortly after birth? Crossing the road because you don't know what to say to them is not the answer, because people feel this. You know, grief is something that you feel very alone in. It's actually something you can't share with anybody. It's something that you have to go through. And the more willing you are and the more you understand this grief, the more able you are to get through it and come out the other side. If you lose a child shortly after birth, or you lose a stillborn child, you know, you've carried it to 40 weeks, it's not something that you ever get over. It's something that you carry with you for the rest of your life. And it's a grief and a loss that you carry with you for the rest of your life. Earlier pregnancies, when you lose a child much earlier on, I think you still think about these babies. I think you think about the due date when they should have been born. I think most women think about all their babies, the ones that lived, the ones that didn't live. But how do we help people? How do we make it more appropriate to talk about this? I think sometimes it's enough just to be there, just to acknowledge that woman's loss and to be there. Sometimes with loss, what can you say? And it's okay to say, I have no words. There is nothing I can say. But I'm here and I'm with you and I feel for the loss of your baby. It's enough. It's enough. Don't cross the road. Don't cross the other side because you are weak and you don't know how to speak to someone who is grieving. I think there's a healthy culture around death and dying amongst our communities. I think it's healthier where families, where children are involved in the whole process, where people are willing to come together to celebrate the life of the person that has passed. But I think still there's a lot that can be done with the death of a baby because the community doesn't know this person. So that's why I think it's important that people come to the parents and they just sit with them quietly and just acknowledge their loss. It's enough. I'd like to share something on a personal nature with you. Let me think how many years ago it was. 28 years ago, I had a premature baby that lived for 2.5 days. It was a very happy time and a very tragic time because she passed away. And what I learned from this was it was an opportunity to make changes. It was an opportunity to make decisions about how to make this tragic event into something positive, into something good. And I think for all people that have lost babies, particularly in this way, it's an opportunity. God gives us opportunities all through our lives, and it's an opportunity to turn things around. It's an opportunity to make promises to God and to ourselves that we will become better people. We will make sure that when we have another baby, we will be better parents because of this event. To try and turn around the negative feelings that we have about the child's death and make it all about the child's life. I can honestly say 28 years on that I'm as happy that she died as she lived because so much good has come of it for me. I also found it important that she had a place, a burial. I have a grave that I go to, and somewhere I can go and talk to her and know that she is there. But I think more importantly, I carry her in my heart always.